Welcome to the coniferous forest, the largest land biome in the world. Covering 15% of the world's land area, coniferous forests range from northern USA and Canada to northern parts of Europe and Asia, and are characterized by the fact that the trees do not lose their needles in the wintertime. These forests are found on latitudes between 50 degrees north and 60 degrees north. Normal range of temperatures include between 15 degrees Celsius and negative 30 degrees Celsius. However, in the summertime, temperatures can reach as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit. In the winter, they can reach as low as negative 65 degrees. Precipitation mainly comes in the form of snow and rain, and usually between 20 and 120 millimeters of rainfall per year. Although the soil is high in moisture, it is generally low in minerals, as fallen needles from pine trees do not decompose quickly and leave the soil poor and acidic. The poor soil quality generally limits the biodiversity seen with plants in the coniferous forest. Poor soil quality is also an abiotic factor that limits life in the coniferous forests, as well as the cold winters, the rocky terrain, and the lack of minerals to provide sustenance for plants. In relation to zonation, coniferous forests generally fall between temperate deciduous forests and tundra, based primarily on altitude. A complex food web is at work in the coniferous forest, which starts off with the primary producers, such as shrubs, grass, ferns, moss, and trees, with the most common trees being fir, spruce, pine, and hemlock trees. Here is a cross-section of a pine needle. One thing that is common with all of these trees is their structure of leaves. They have needles that have a very waxy and thick cuticle that help to insulate them in cold weather, as well as retain water. Moving on to some of the consumers, we have a black bear. Black bears are omnivorous and feed on both on meat and on the primary producers we've already talked about. Next is a mountain lion. Mountain lions are purely carnivorous and are the largest big cat in North America. Next we have an elk. Elk are primary consumers and eat all of the primary producers we've talked about, as well as form a base of food chain for the larger predators. Lastly, we have a lynx. Lynx are solitary big cats and are rarely seen. The great horned owl is a large species of owl that inhabit the forest. They feed primarily on small mammals that are on the ground, including voles, mice, and other small shrews. Another predator-prey relationship we see are with wolves and elk. Wolves hunt primarily in a pack and use their pack strategy to bring down large animals such as this elk and other large deer species like moose and white-tailed deer. The predator illustrated here is called a bobcat, and it's chasing a snowshoe hare. This illustrates some outstanding adaptations on both organisms' parts. The snowshoe hare is blended perfectly into the snow in its wintry coat, and the bobcat's immense ears help it detect any noise of prey. In winter, bears hibernate to conserve energy for times when food is more plentiful. Birds of prey, such as this red-tailed hawk, often come to coniferous forests in the summer, where food is plentiful, and leave in the winter on migration. Some other adaptations are thick fur coats that help insulate warmth, padded feet to minimize noise, and large teeth used in hunting. The coniferous forest continually sees the effects of different human impacts in the biome. As the demand for wood and lumber increase, huge tracts of forest are cut down to meet the demand. This deforestation leads to immediate habitat loss for all of the organisms in that given area, as well as destroying the nests of many migrating birds that would have lived in the trees. Drilling for oil and natural gas also have negative effects on this biome. Many areas in this forest region are rich in underground resources that people seek to drill. Not only does deforestation occur at the site, but roads must be built to transport the resource from the site. If this wasn't bad enough, the constant threat of an oil or gas leak can not only pollute the ground and make it unsustainable to life, it can also lead to chemical fires that would destroy the given area. Possible solutions to these problems are not easily determined, as both of these resources are used practically daily, but it is clear that new forms of renewable energy must be introduced to minimize drilling and its harmful effects. Speaking of fires, wildfires to be exact, that are primarily caused by lightning strikes, are exceedingly beneficial to this biome. Fires in the moderate range help foster biodiversity and allow new plants and producers to grow. Also, fires are hugely important to some species, such as the lodgewood pine tree, in reproduction, as the heat from the fire triggers the pine cones, full of seeds, to drop and reseed the given area. The woodland caribou is a highly endangered species whose numbers have rapidly decreased to fewer than 7,000 individuals. Due to habitat destruction through logging and mining, overhunting, and the presence of large predators, such as gray wolves, cougars, and grizzly bears, the woodland caribou numbers are falling, and were added as an endangered species in 1985. One of the main reasons that this species is not recognized as in danger is its similarity to other caribou subspecies. Many caribou herds roam Alaska, Canada, and Russia, and most populations are relatively stable, partly due to the fact that they live in a tundra environment. However, the woodland caribou relies on the coniferous forest in Alberta for habitat. What makes this species endangered is its habitat, which is constantly disappearing, as well as its prize meat and antlers that hunters seek. However, there is hope for this species, as they are prohibited from being hunted, outfitted with scientific collar trackers, and raise awareness that organizations like the Alberta Environmental Protection Wildlife Management gives to companies that are drilling in the coniferous forest area. Not only are these large herbivores consume and keep vegetation from overgrowing, they also play a major role in the food chain as prey for many of the large carnivores. Today, woodland caribou are still threatened by vehicle strikes, loss of habitat, and poaching, even though they are covered under the Endangered Species Act. Hopefully you learned something about the coniferous forest in this video and some of the organisms that live in it. Thank you for listening.